going to be a bumpy night.
I watched a movie I really love, and it's very small, but it's called The Wonder Boys with Michael Douglas, Tobey Maguire, Robert Downey Jr. It's kind of his comeback. It's by Curtis Hanson, the guy who did L.A. In fact, it's the movie after L.A. Confidential.
Okay.
And
I was watching a little bit of L.A. Confidential the other day.
That's great.
Yeah.
That movie, it looks great.
Yeah.
That should have won the Oscar.
Yeah.
Not Titanic.
All right. Let's just start real quick. So everybody watching right now, welcome to the show. This is the Laugh Bunker podcast. My name is Josh. Paul, great to see you again. So you're watching Wonder Boys, right? Recently?
Yeah. I mean, I like it. I just, I put movies on just in the background. Like I always say, it's my music. And so every lunch, every time I eat, I put on a movie or click and see what's there. And it was there, and I haven't seen it in a long time. It's with Michael Douglas and Tobey Maguire and Robert Downey Jr. and Katie Holmes, Frances McDormand. I mean, the characters, it just works. It's by Curtis Hanson, who did L.A. Confidential, which you watched this week. And it's just, I really like it. And if you are a writer, you will understand Michael Douglas's character to the max. And I think that's where, and it's from a book, in fact, because Scott Rudin was involved as a producer. And I really like it. I highly recommend it. I enjoy it. I've seen it probably 300 million times, but or parts of it. But I like it. And I like Michael Douglas for some reason.
No, he's great. I love Michael Douglas. Yeah.
What would be what are some of your favorite Michael Douglas films? We talked about Michael Douglas at work yesterday.
Yeah. Okay.
So
what brought that up?
Became a conversation. Well, we were talking about Nurse Ratched, and we were talking about how I thought Michael Douglas produced One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest because he had gotten the rights from Ken Kesey, who wrote the book. I
didn't know he was involved in that movie.
Yeah, so he won the Oscar for a producer when he was on Streets of San Francisco.
Wow.
With Carl Malden back, I don't know, or 70s. So what was interesting about it, so I thought he had obtained the rights, but it turned out his dad, Kirk Douglas, bought the rights and then gave them to his son to help his career, which I thought was very interesting. And Ken Kesey was back in the whole LSD era and the whole acid test and the bus that went around the country where everybody was tripping. But anyway, and that was a movie also I watched a little bit of this week, was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Nice.
And that movie
that's on Netflix. People could find that pretty easily. Yeah.
When I have that top line on Netflix, continue watching or watch again. And the truth is, I very rarely leave those two lines, because I either I'm finishing something, or the line of watch again has all those shows we like to go back to all the time.
Has all those movies.
Breaking Bad, whatever it is, it's there. So so anyway, that's pretty much.
And then Kirk Douglas, who just recently died,
he was
what,
104, I think.
104, I think, right? Yeah.
Well, he was born in 1916.
Yeah, I know.
So that's 100. He died in February of this year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Class act all around.
Yeah, you never really
iconic, man.
Was there ever any scandals revolving him? I don't think so, right? I never heard anything. He always seemed like a class act. But
class act and a very practicing strict Orthodox Jew in a way. Also, he brought his son was brought up in the Jewish schools. Michael was, and just really a great guy. And him and his wife were together forever.
Yeah,
and that guy was, before, at one time, Spartacus, the film that he was in, was the leading Oscar-nominated film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now,
for his time, huge.
Kirk Douglas. I didn't know that. So anyway, at work we were talking about. We just started researching. So Kirk Douglas production company fired the original director of Spartacus and brought in Kubrick because they had worked together earlier. Nice. And so then when you think about Spartacus, and then you think about buying the rights to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, you realize that Kirk Douglas was a little bit more profound than just an actor. He actually knew good material, and he was one of your classic. And it's funny because we were talking.
And who would be good behind the camera? Who would be good for the film? That's what
Yeah. I mean, so he knows his stuff, and when we were talking about, you sent me the link to that Mank, the new movie that's going to be on Netflix with Gary Oldman.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And when you think of Kirk Douglas, you think of that era, right? You know what I mean? It's like that's when he was the one of the major stars of Hollywood.
Yeah.
And the truth is, so with Michael, his son, I grew up with his career.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So where you came in later, I went from Streets of San Francisco up in the development of his movie career. I mean, some pretty iconic movies, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
Some couple of and he always made interesting choices, not always going with, like, I love Falling Down.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Where he's the computer, or he's the rocket engineer, right? Space engineer losing his job.
He's in traffic. He gets irritated. It's like LA.
Oh, and he does like everything 80s, that we want 90s. To do. You know what I mean? Like when he goes to the fast food and he wants the breakfast, and it's all like 1 minute past 11 o'clock, and it's like, it's right there. Yeah. It's sitting there.
So I got rid of recently, when I moved to this house, I let go a lot of my DVD collection to my wife's aunt, who goes and sells a lot of things, swap meets and stuff like that. So I had her go and just make your money, whatever, just sell all this stuff, because I don't really get to enjoy it as much anymore. But Falling Down was one of the few DVDs I chose to keep, because I was like, I know I'm gonna want to watch it at some point, and I don't feel like buying it again, so I couldn't let that one go. So I still have that one.
It's a great film, and Robert Duvall in it too, as the cop, and the scene at the end of the pier, just really. And also a recent movie of Michael Douglas, not that recent, but one I keep watching over and over again, is The Game with Sean Penn.
Yeah.
And that's a David Fincher movie.
Yeah.
And so, we always talk about his style. It's got that darkness, and I think it's just I think it's a great film, and I really enjoy it. So anyway, I was watching that, watched a little bit of I watched the Buccaneers, because of Tom Brady beat the Packers. And other than that, though, just hiked a lot this week. They opened one of the trails at the top of Lake Street in Altadena. It's not super strict, but I hiked 3 days in a row, 11 miles a day. So I hiked about 33 miles at the beginning of the week. Felt good to just get out there. The weather's changing. And I think on Monday, Moses and I, we're going to go up to Baldy. We'll see how the snow or ice is, but it'll probably be about, if it's a high of 42 at Mount Baldy. So you're talking about, it's going to be probably in the 20s to teens when we get to the top, if we are able to do it. But other than that,
you got to get out there before it gets super cold. Yeah.
And the sad thing is, normally in winter I hike on Mount Wilson Trail, because of the lower altitude. It doesn't have the problems, but they say that trail's not going to open till maybe January of next year due to the Bobcat fire.
Yeah.
Which is still, by the way, it's still going on.
Yeah.
Even though we're not, I mean, it's only 2%. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yes. Up in the area where we used to always hang out, that whole Boulder Canyon and everything. Yeah, I talked to my friend. He's a lieutenant in Denver, and he said that they haven't been moved out there up yet. But it's because it exploded like 8,000 acres overnight or something.
Yeah, it's huge from what I hear.
It is crazy. We live in the weather is just bizarre. I mean, everything about this year, the election, another debate.
Last night, huh?
I did not watch it, but I'm sure it was wonderful for everybody.
It was, I watched it, and not to get into politics too much, but it was, I mean, it was the more presidential debate out of the two, because they obviously skipped a second because Trump got COVID and all that. He was on his best behavior in this one.
Really?
And then I think it was calculated. Like, just tried not to interrupt too much because he really got a lot of negative feedback from the last one because he just went off the rails. But this one, they had rules in place where they'll cut the mics after the 2 minutes. So they'll get asked a question, they will have respond, 2 minutes to respond. Their mic gets cut off. Then their opponent gets the same question, 2 minutes, and then they have like a brief little discussion about it where they can just go back and forth. And they, for the most part, both of them stuck to it. And it was, I mean, it was what it was.
I was working last night, so there's
okay.
They don't put on the TVs was the football games.
Okay.
And they don't put
it's for the probably for the best though. Yeah, but it was
especially in a bar. But
yeah, in a bar, yeah, alcohol involved, yeah. But no, I watched that last night. Going back to Michael Douglas though, real quick. Some of my favorite performances of his or movies. The one he did with Val Kilmer in Africa, the Ghost of
the Big Game Hunter.
Yeah,
that was cool.
That was one.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
where wasn't that based off a real story or something?
Yeah, it was based off of I believe the two lions. The story of the two. They're during the construction of the railroad that they were in. That was kind of like surrounding that whole story.
Cynthia, can you stir the sauce for me? Thank you very much. Sorry.
No.
Can't burn the sauce, That's a sin.
So
sorry.
So the story revolves around like Val Kilmer's character is assigned to go and help finish the final construction of this railroad, but more as a protection too, because they're having trouble with the wildlife. And what he finds out is that
I liked it, and it's set in a different era, right? Wasn't it set older?
It's kind of like what I don't know, early 1900s.
Yeah. I saw it, of course, back then. Everything was at the theater, so that was. I forgot about. What's the name of that again?
The Ghost in the Darkness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
That was a good movie. One of my favorite Val Kilmer and one of my favorite Michael Douglas movies.
Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
I got when I think of Val Kilmer, I go, well, The Doors, Jim Morrison, obviously, the Oliver Stone film, but then, Tombstone. I mean, that was just iconic.
Yeah.
And his in the Tombstone movie, which I heard, or Val Kilmer, who has been struggling with cancer.
Yeah, he does. He has throat cancer. I think he's recovered already, but it left basically his vocal cords are just trashed.
He came out and said that really Kurt Russell is the one who kind of took over the directing that film.
I can see it. Yeah, I can believe it.
And my favorite scene in Tombstone is where Johnny Ringo, played by Michael Biehn from all the Terminators and Alien movie, he brings out his gun and he flips it around and and everybody claps, and he's drunk. Doc Holliday or Kilmer's drunk, and he takes the cup and does the same thing, and then caps it onto the gun. I just think it's great. Yeah,
Val Kilmer's got some good ones too. I think he'll always be like, I don't know, because I grew up. He was definitely one of the Batmans for me. Probably not the most popular Batman, but one of the more commercially successful Batman movies with Jim Carrey in it and Tommy Lee Jones and all. That was. I think
Tommy Lee Jones played Two-Face, right?
Two-Face, yeah. And that movie would have been a little bit.
Should have had a better Joker, or not Joker, a better Riddler, because I thought Jim Carrey kind of hurt me in that movie a little bit.
Really, for me, it was too much of both villains. Now I think Tommy Lee, the wackiness of Jim Carrey. Obviously, he's going to bring that to the table, and he played like I think his Riddler was, different, but it was memorable. But Tommy Lee Jones came in not as he came in as a wacky Two-Face, almost like almost like a throwback to like Adam West Batman character, like villain.
Yeah, definitely.
The too wackiness, I don't think it worked. I would have liked Tommy Lee Jones to be more of a serious villain. and opposite of Jim Carrey's villain, because the two do pair up at some point in the movie. So it's like two wacky characters is just too much, I think.
Man, I don't even know. Man, that's from a long time ago.
Yeah,
man.
that was like 95. And that was,
yeah. Well, it's interesting because, you opened Batman.
Yeah.
So Batman for me growing up was Adam West. That was on TV. So and all those characters, the Joker was Cesar Romero. Catwoman and all the different things.
I enjoyed them too with the reruns on TV. I enjoyed the Batman Adam West series, and Adam West kind of became this like cult. Had this
kind of like Shatner, kind of.
Yeah. He always stayed kind of relevant in some way because he attached himself to Family Guy, and
exactly. But I mean, everyone grew up with that.
Yeah. So Batman and Family Guy are like his two, and it kept on working for the past, I don't know, until he died recently. Yeah.
So when Batman came out, with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
So that was our jump. So you're brought up with the whole.
Yeah, I came in with
Michael Keaton. Everything.
Michael Keaton. That was my whole. Yeah.
So we saw that, and how old were you when that came out?
When did the first one come out?
Man, you had to be really stinking young, man.
I was super young, yeah. But it was definitely. Let me see. Let me look it up real quick. But yeah, another just to finish off with Michael Douglas real quick. Another favorite of mine, his role in Traffic as the politician.
Oh yeah. That's a great film.
It's a great overall film. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
And because it has so many character actors that we love playing significant roles that intertwine.
Yeah.
And I like the guy who's the drug guy who's going to be the informant.
Yeah.
He's from the first RoboCop, going all the way back.
He was No, you're good. I got you. Yeah, he is. Batman. But go on.
So I forget what I was saying now, but so anyway, with Batman, back then we went to the theaters. It's got to be in the 90s.
Oh, sure. 89.
89. Okay,
first Batman. I was super. I caught it afterwards. I caught it when.
Okay, so what year were you born?
85.
Okay, so I was 89, so I've been married a couple years. So, and my wife and I, we love movies. And back then, dude, there was something so awesome about going to the movies.
Yeah. When
there wasn't all the venues to do. You know what I mean? And it was just, we went to the movies all the time.
It was. I love going to the movies. Before COVID, it was. I love going.
I do too. I like to go and not know anything about the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw so many matinees in Chicago on movies that became Oscar winners that I just wanted to go and I'm really, when I watch movies, I really pay attention.
Yeah.
I mean, I really if I don't become immersed in your movie, then your movie ain't good.
Yeah.
Or it's not touching me emotionally. Let me put it that way. But anyway, so then, okay, so it was
probably 92's Batman Returns, the one with Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer, which was probably my first really exposure to Batman around that age.
So, okay.
I'd have been like 7, 8.
But Michael Keaton was still Batman then.
Yeah.
In that one too, right? Mm-hmm. And then what was the one with Arnold as Mr. Freeze?
Was
that George Clooney?
That was George Clooney's. Yeah, that was Batman and Robin. Yeah.
Even he admits.
Yeah.
Even George Clooney admits.
Yeah. That was bad. That was a bad one. That was a bad one.
Okay, so Arnold was in it, and who else was and then who?
Arnold and
then Val Kilmer?
Uma Thurman.
Okay.
She was a villain.
She was Poison, right?
She was Poison Ivy. Uh-huh.
Okay, so it goes Michael Keaton, Adam West, Michael Keaton,
Val
Kilmer.
Yeah.
And then George Clooney.
And George Clooney.
And then
Christian Bale.
And
then Ben Affleck, and now Robert Pattinson.
Well, I will tell you that I thought Ben Affleck, that whole Batman Superman thing, whatever that was, I don't know. There's too much ghosting on Ben Affleck. I can't take him serious anymore. All I think about him is drinking. You know what I mean?
I think people didn't have their expectations too high as him as Batman, but I think once it came out, people started to really like him, especially once he was in the suit. I don't know. He had he had to play a good Batman vibe. I had a good Batman vibe to him. So
I liked Christian Bale.
I did too.
The first one.
Those are my first. Those are my favorite out of the bunch.
But I'm not a big Marvel guy, the whole deal.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of interested in this Robert Pattinson.
Have you seen the trailer?
No, but
I'll send you the trailer. It's
really
interesting.
I'm a big fan of his work. In fact,
especially recently.
Well, and I just saw a film, and I can't remember the name, but he has a weird relationship with his father, who's Pierce Bronson. And I believe the mom died, and he meets another girl whose mom died or family died. I forget the name. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, my wife is a big Robert Pattinson fan, not because of Twilight, but he takes his shit seriously. And he's and I like that I don't know anything about him, even better, because I want to just escape into his films.
Yeah. And he's worked
I will be interested in this.
Yeah, he's worked very hard at shedding that Twilight like reputation that he had before. And
you got to do that, because otherwise, if you want to be considered seriously, and we just talked about Michael Douglas taking some strange paths in different roles. Going back to Michael Douglas, the movie with Glenn Close, Fatal Attraction. That's a horror movie.
Yeah.
Would you think that would be kind of a horror movie? Especially the end after boiling. But anyway, that's another one of my movies that
That's a great one. That's a classic.
Really liked of his. You know,
Basic Instinct too.
Oh yeah. Basic Instinct. That script that made that script sold for $2 million. And it's all because of the one scene.
Have you seen the dialogue in that script? That movie is so wrong.
And you know what? My favorite scene, and you know who's my favorite character in that movie? I can't think of his name, but it's the character who plays Newman on Seinfeld.
Oh yeah.
And he's doing the interview and he's sweating. I mean, that performance is the best performance of the film. It's so iconic.
That actor has some iconic moments in Hollywood, especially his role in Jurassic Park.
Oh, of course,
I think is memorable. Like everybody,
he died.
and
everyone wanted him to die, so it was a perfect thing.
Every scene he was in just stole the scene because he was so good.
I mean, that's the greatest. I mean, can you imagine that kind of life? Because I mean, Seinfeld was a little bit more intensive work, but I mean, he just shows up, has a good time, and gets a paycheck. I mean, my wife just got a paycheck the other day again
from Lady Bird.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so when you think about it, to just get the residual, and just
especially on like a Seinfeld, or Jurassic Park or anything else he's been in. Yeah.
How about Lucille Ball's grandkids, who've been getting residuals since 50? Yeah.
There's been a lot of Lucille Ball. It's constantly playing at my house.
It's. Would you put it as one of the top?
Oh yeah.
TV shows of all time?
Yeah. Because it transcends generations, and it's and it's memorable, and the writing and the cast. Every episode is almost solid. There's
no losers.
There's no losers. Oh.
That guy, her husband, he changed Hollywood.
Yeah.
There wasn't any residuals till he put it into place, and
both of them really changed.
She
Hollywood.
was a pretty tough lady, is what I've heard. I saw an interview with Des Arnaz, and it was on one of the late night shows. I don't know if it was Johnny Carson or it was on that. I think it was probably Johnny Carson. That was the only one back then.
Yeah,
and he was saying that she didn't mess around.
No,
and he had to fix a lot of fences, so to speak.
And you would think at the time that she was coming up, the like how society was, and for her to she had to be a ball buster. There's no way you can't.
She
to
was
survive.
gorgeous when she was young too,
Yeah.
man. I mean, like movie star model. Like
I have
really,
2 books. I have 2 books. One that my brother-in-law got that he really loves. It's that one. It's I forgot what the name of it. I have it here. That's all the backstory of the studio. They have a lot of interviews with like cast members and family members and everybody that surrounded her and Ricky and all them. It gives you an entire backstory of how, from their point of view of her, and how everything went on. And then I have another one that was written by her. It was memoirs that she had written that were later found by her daughter, like going through all her stuff. And she pretty much had an entire manuscript of like for a memoir, her memoir written by her throughout of her life. And then she ended up turning that into a book. So I have both.
I heard that her and Ethel, the actress who played Ethel Mormon, they didn't really get along very well either.
Yeah, they didn't get along because I think and
made her dress weird clothing and different things too.
Always had to be a little bit heavier than Lucy. The 2 people that really hated each other though was Ethel and Fred.
Really?
Yeah, they couldn't stand working with each other. Yeah,
I saw that guy in a couple old 1940 movies too, like cop movies and stuff. So he was been around for a long time.
Yeah, and I think she was always. I think when she was upset the fact that like when they were cast together as husband and wife, that he was so much older than her, that she kind of got a little. She felt that was kind of disrespectful to her, and also I think when he died, somebody got a statement from her about when he died, and then that she said like good riddance or something like that. Like they really did not like each other. Yeah.
Oh, that's hardcore. I knew between Lucy and Ethel, but not.
No, they actually they had a long relationship, a working relationship. I didn't really know that.
They worked on a couple shows.
Yeah, because she went from I Love Lucy, and then she took Ethel or Vivian Vance all the way. I mean, from every sitcom that she had after that, basically I think she only wanted to work with her for like I think it brought her comfort. Maybe the vibe and they worked well together, but she wanted her along. She brought her along throughout her career for the most part.
Is that one of the top 5 sitcoms of all time?
Yeah, I would say top 3. You could put it.
Okay, what would be the top 5 then?
You probably throw Seinfeld in there because of how much of a social impact it had.
Of course, yeah.
MASH, you probably have to throw it in there. I think Gilligan's Island.
What about Cheers?
I never got into Cheers, but it was huge. I know that. I never really went back and watched it. I don't know. You would probably speak more to Cheers on how that changed.
Well, yeah, and then you think about Woody Harrelson coming off there in his career, and the bartender. I can't think. What's his name? The bartender.
I don't know.
He's been in about 50 different shows.
God, what's his name?
Brain. I can't.
There's All in the Family. You could do that one too. You could do. I mean, you could even more like somewhat current. You could do Fresh Prince. You could do.
No, I wouldn't put Fresh Prince on.
You wouldn't put Fresh Prince in top 5 or top 10?
I'm not saying it's not. Oh no. I mean, you're thinking about if I was going to say. Are we saying just film?
It's more of a recency bias for me, I guess. I don't know. But
are you saying shows that are comedy based, or sitcom, or just TV shows in general?
Probably go sitcoms that are maybe more. I guess I don't know. Comedy based. I mean, most are comedy based. No. I definitely put Lucy as either number 1 or top 3, depending on what you're interested. Because of the. I think the social impact it had, having and
it's still on.
It's still on. It transcends what it did for TV in terms of the multicam, having a biracial couple on TV. I mean, you name it. It like.
Oh, then Norman Lear. I mean, think about his shows that he did.
Yeah.
I mean, All in the Family, The Jeffersons, Good Times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he might be one of the most prolific TV producers of sitcom eras. But yeah, I mean, you have Seinfeld, Friends, Cheers. I mean, The Simpsons might be number 2. I mean, they've been going on forever. I mean, isn't it the longest running show?
It's the longest running show, sitcom.
I mean, even though he's a bad person, but the Cosby Show.
Matt Groening?
No. I'm saying Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
I mean, that show. Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah, Dick Van Dyke.
I mean, Frasier. I mean, Frasier was spun off of Cheers.
Yeah, I like Frasier. Frasier was good.
Dick Van Dyke would have to go up there, right up there.
Yeah, I think so too.
Everyone loves Raymond. I mean, Roseanne. Where do you stop?
Yeah, where do you stop?
So
it's all just a what your preference is, what your taste is. But I don't know. Regardless,
I don't watch them anymore. To be honest with you,
no. And
I don't watch any sitcoms for some reason. I don't know.
The only one I really, Lucy would probably have to be the only one that really is on at my house on a regular basis. Everything else I don't really watch. I don't really go back and watch episodes of.
What about Curb Your Enthusiasm? Did you like that?
That's funny enough. I was watching episodes last night. I love that. I love that show.
Sometimes though, it seems it's too much. Like I can't I had a couple DVDs, and then after a while, it's too much. It's kind of like Seinfeld on crack.
It is.
You know what I mean? It's like the street Seinfeld.
It's a street Seinfeld. It's more edgy Seinfeld.
It is. It's edgy, and the character. There's nobody that's nice except for his wife.
No. It's not that kind of show. No, at all.
No, if I was going to say my favorite TV comedy for me, I mean, I grew up in MASH era, and MASH was just making commentary on Vietnam. It wasn't really about the Korean War.
So for my generation, when MASH came on, that means you go turn it off and you do something else. I don't know, but that's this.
That's where we had our Geritol and changed our Depends.
Yeah. For me, I watched Lucy, Gilligan, whatever.
Grew up obviously. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So growing up with silly sitcoms. Yeah. I mean, the Brady Bunch. I mean, Brady Bunch. And then my parents. It's very interesting. I grew up in an area mostly white, but the favorite shows in all these neighborhoods was the Jeffersons, Sanford and Son, and because it gave us a look of Red Fox he was known as being a great comedian. Yeah, but
funny's funny. A good, it's gonna be a hit if it's good. But yeah, I guess if you're going in from like that perspective, it gives you a view into a different.
It just was. It was. I mean, it just started and with All in the Family, and it went through, and it was just. I mean, we love those shows. And, and that guy's still going on. Yeah. Norman Lear is still going. One of the ladies who's involved with him is on the board of my wife's school, and they are opened up over it. He's 100. I think he's 100 years old himself.
Probably, yeah.
But think about if since we're talking about sitcoms, think about the influence of Norman Lear and his shows.
Yeah.
How many hit shows has this guy got?
Let me see. I'm gonna look and see how old he is right now. Let me see.
I think he's near 100.
He's 98.
Okay, well that's pretty close.
Who's he married to? He's married to. I mean, his wife is older, attractive lady, but she's got that. She's got that Michael Keaton. No, not that Michael Keaton. That Jack Nicholson Joker smile going on. So plastic surgery.
98, huh?
98.
That's 40 years from now. I don't know if I see that in my future, but but when you look at his shows, I mean, Good Times, and think about the people that came to light during that. I mean, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
You know what? I was you showed me that Mank trailer, Gary Oldman. Did you see True Romance?
Yes.
Old movie.
I haven't seen it. I I haven't seen it for a while, so I can't really speak too much. I haven't seen it probably since around the time it came out. My wife loves that movie though.
Brad Pitt plays the stoner on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not acting too hard, and do you know who wrote that script?
No.
Quentin Tarantino.
Oh yeah. That's right. That's why
it was the first movie to be made after Reservoir Dogs. And I didn't. When you showed me Mank, I was looking at Gary Oldman, and I always have liked that guy. I mean, going back to The Professional, you know. And I thought him in those Batman films with Christian Bale, I liked him in those.
Yeah. He was Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, I really thought it worked. Because a lot of times in Batman, they make the commissioners and the mayors too flamboyant, or
like not just more. I don't know. Like, I guess for a Batman, they'll probably be a little bit more. I don't know. I guess Michael Keaton's his Commissioner Gordon wasn't really that memorable. Like, he was kind of just there.
Right. Okay. It's the actor.
Yeah.
Who, the movie with Gene Hackman, owns the town, The Quick and the Dead. That guy owns the bar.
Okay.
Remember his daughter? He doesn't do anything to stop the guy effect. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Came to you.
No connection there. But he's a character actor that's in everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He knew his place, and he works all the time.
And let's see. What are we talking about? Oh, to touch on a superhero film. I know you're not a big superhero guy or like comic book movie guy.
They don't live up to my expectations.
Yeah.
They can't take me.
one of my favorite recent movies for like a DC that revolves around the Batman. Same Superman, the one that came out with Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill. His one solo movie of Superman, like I've recently watched a couple of times. It's one of my favorites that recently come out revolving those characters. It's got a great cast, and the opening scenes of that movie are I love it. Like that it gets you really into the movie, and then the action scenes, the fight scenes, it's like an origin kind of story a little bit. It's got a great cast. It's got Amy Adams.
Oh yeah, no, I saw it.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I liked. Okay,
Russell Crowe in the beginning.
They all run together, but what I liked about it was I liked the way it looked. First of all, the contrast and in the way the colors were not real, kind of off. And I like that guy anyway because he's stoic. Yeah, he doesn't have to say much, and I know exactly what he's thinking.
Who's your favorite actor in that movie?
Well, Amy Adams is one of my favorite actors of all time because she steals everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the cast in there: Lawrence Fishburne, Russell Crowe, Diane Lane. My favorite though in that movie.
Okay, so Russell Crowe, I'm ghosted with Marlon Brando.
How?
That same character from the first Batman.
Oh yeah, that's true.
See what you
because he plays.
I had to suffer through. Do you know how much suffering we had to make from our comic books? We didn't grow up in your era where you just jump on. It's just great. We had to suffer with buffoons.
Well, no, I had to come up through the 90s where I couldn't wait till they started making movies like this because everything that had come out before was just not good.
I
was
up
like
in the 60s and 70s.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So I still had to live off of what your generation gave us. And then, so it wasn't until like Spider-Man came out in 2000 that we actually started to produce some decent stuff. But
it's funny because in the Wonder Boys is Tobey Maguire. And really I know we're not talking superheroes, but I mean, I had loved his Spider-Mans were some of my favorite Spider-Man movies personally.
I think even to today, it's still a lot of people's personal favorites. I know the new kids.
I really liked it.
But
I like him as an actor personally.
I do too. Yeah. And there are rumors that the new Spider-Man that's coming out.
I just read. Yeah, I saw that. No.
It's going to have.
I saw an interview and he made some reference to what he thought or something. So when I was looking up his Wonder Boys, and I was, so Spider-Man, that was that would be my favorite. Now, the second one with him, I didn't like the bad guy, and I can't think of what it was. He had the big, like the arms that came out.
Dr. Octopus. It was Alfred.
Yeah,
I think was it Alfred Molina?
Yes. Yeah. So, and I'm not a sequel guy, but I really enjoyed.
It was a good sequel.
And I liked the Andrew Garfield first one too, to be honest.
I do too. I don't think he gets enough credit because those from the superhero fan base, but I thought his first go at Spider-Man was actually pretty good. I thought his sequel to that was actually pretty decent, but I didn't like the villains. I thought the villains were like it was too.
Who was the father of? So the villain in number one was.
The main villain was a lizard.
No, but it was the son of William Dafoe, right?
The
actor, I can't think of his name right now.
Toby's version.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was William Dafoe was the main villain in the first one.
Yeah.
And then in the second one was Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus, and then they introduced his son, what's his name? God, what am I playing?
He's the one that did the worst Oscars of all time.
Yeah.
Did he win an Oscar for the movie where he's the hiker and his hand is stuck?
Yeah, the 31 days, 36 days or whatever.
Yeah.
Why am I blanking?
Because we didn't do the research.
No, but I like these like tangents, but I just not even that. It's just I should be able to just come up with his name.
It's Friday.
Maybe James Franco. Jesus Christ.
James Franco. Yes.
Yeah.
He's got some. There's some weird stuff about this guy, but
yeah, he's a little. I think the real personality of him came out after the movie he did with Seth Rogen, the Weed movie. That really changed his whole reputation or aura about him.
I like his brother though.
Yeah,
younger brother. I think he's pretty good.
He's pretty good, and a good comedic actor too. They're both really solid comedic actors. But back to the Superman movie. I watched that a couple of times. Got to be one of my favorites that have come out recently. You have what's from The Bodyguard. What's his name? Is his dad? Like we're both.
I don't have it today.
Me neither. Dude.
No, I just got off 3 days of work, and man, working nights and not sleeping is
Kevin Costner. There, yeah, me and me. I have no excuse. Yeah.
Well, see now, Kevin Costner is an actor from my generation.
Yeah.
He got panned on some movies, but he did some pretty good movies back in the 70s and 80s and 90s.
No, I like Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner, no matter what the overall movie, if it's good or not, he usually is good.
Did you see his speech when he won? I don't know if it was a last SAG award or Emmy award for that show that he was on, and he got up there and he gave a speech. And he talked about how the first time he was here, and it was during that Close Range, or not at Close Range, the movie with Gene Hackman, and how he was such a jerk, kind of, and now to come back years later and to be appreciated and understand what he had missed the first. It's one of the great acceptance speeches, and it just was awesome, and for people to realize how blessed they are. Yeah, and to come back, and he's a solid actor, man. I mean, I grew up in his era, Field of Dreams. I mean, the Untouchables we've talked about a million times. He was the flavor of the month in Hollywood for a little bit of time.
Yeah, he was.
They spun him out.
Solid, really classic movies like the Untouchables and all that, and Field of Dreams, Dances with Wolves, and all that. But
Oscar.
Yeah, and I think he did. Towards the late 90s and early 2000s, he kind of fizzle out a little bit, I guess, in terms of the mainstream.
Did you see the movie with him? It's where he's a serial killer and he takes out, I can't think of his name. He's the goofy comedian. They tried to make him a movie star. And then it turns out that his daughter is a serial killer.
No.
Oh man, it's I have to. Let me see
It's on that show Yellowstone right now, which is getting a lot.
Yeah, it's gotten. Have you seen it?
No, I heard it's like a mix of. I don't know. It's got a little bit of Ozarks in it. You know, got a little bit of.
I did watch a little bit of that. Have you watched that show?
Which one?
Ozarks.
Oh yeah, no, I love Ozarks. But have you gone back to watch episodes or?
Well, no, I don't think you can. I watched a little bit of the third season.
Ozarks or Yellowstone?
Is it the drug thing?
It's got a little bit. It's got a little bit of that going on, but it's. I heard it's got a little bit of that kind of feel to it, where it doesn't. It starts off like, feeling like this kind of like Western-ish, you know, Montana kind of like, you know, farming. I don't know. It becomes very dark, very very mobbish quickly, and it's a pretty. Is
it worth watching?
From what I hear from everybody that's.
Oh, you haven't seen it then? Okay.
I haven't seen it, no, because I don't think it's easily available. I think it's on Paramount Network, but I think if you try to get it anywhere else, you have to pay for it, like Amazon and
well, the movie that I was talking about with Kevin Costner being the serial killer is called Mr. Brooks. It's a 2007 movie directed by Bruce Evans, but then the comedian I'm talking about is Dane Cook.
Okay, I didn't even know they did a movie together.
This movie is great, and I loved it. And what it is William Hurt plays the conscience of Kevin Costner.
Okay,
and it's worth a watch. I know you like creepy stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I would highly recommend it.
I like as far as I like everything about that from what you're just telling me right now. William Hurt, Kevin Costner, even Dane Cook.
Demi Moore plays the cop trying to bust him, and
Moore.
It's all on. He makes a mistake. Oh, it's a good movie, really, and it's in that era where he was kind of off the page.
Okay.
Kind of off Hollywood Reporter, so to speak, and But it's a good movie, and I would I highly recommend it. I would. Okay. It's for you. You would like it a lot, and it's solid as all get out. Yeah, and Dane Cook does a good job.
That's good because he got panned a little bit on, you know, when they try to put him into a lot of comedic.
Well, they wanted him to be the man for a while.
They did,
and he couldn't carry the mantle. Question: going back to Marvel, there's this controversy right now with Chris Pratt joining the thing, but then all these people came out and said, "Man, this is one of the most solid people in Hollywood and whatever." And I was wondering what you thought about that.
No, I like Chris Pratt. I know he's a kind of a devoutly religious person, and he keeps his personal life, his politics. He's married to actually Schwarzenegger's daughter. Yeah. No, I like the guy. I've always liked the guy. The guy's a great actor, comedic actor. I loved everything he's been in, from Parks and Rec to the Marvel movies he's been in. Guardians
of the Galaxy you know what? First of all, I like Chris. I like him a lot, and he's a good guy. And my take is just it's people assuming about him, like assuming things about him that because he's religious, because he's, I don't know. I like what Robert Downey Jr. said in his reply.
Yeah. What did they say?
He said, "Okay, all you sinless people sitting on the couch, maybe you should turn off your social media and look at your own lives."
Yeah. It's true.
Make some things.
They're going after him for no reason. They're making up.
They're going after him because not just politics. I mean, Christianity is.
Yeah. And they associate that with
totally
with
everything Republican.
Everything Republican.
Probably
at the moment is like it's seen as like all negative and the wrong, and so it's I think he's just it's a little bit of a witch hunt type of thing. But I think
when I moved here to LA, I had a friend. He worked in the outskirts of Hollywood, but he was from my church, and he said I would get more respect in Hollywood if I was a murderer than a Christian.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, out of fear that you'd be killed. But anyway,
Matthew McConaughey was on Rogan's the other day, and he actually asked him that question, like, because you're kind of an openly religious kind of Christian person, did it kind of give you any issues being in Hollywood, which is not so religious and kind of looks down, especially on Christianity, kind of looks down on it. And he answered it in a good way. So I'll send you that link because I'll send you that.
Is Matthew McConaughey a spiralso person, Christian?
From what yeah.
Well, he's from Texas, so I mean, that leans that way. So they also talked about the movie Contact with him and Jodie Foster, and he brought a little. I just saw a little bit of that the other day. In fact, to be honest with you,
he asked him, like, that character being more of a faith-based character in a science fiction movie and having those views, and being like, did you use any of your personal things? Like, yeah, I that character is a little bit more than a little bit of me, and that's what I wanted to go bring that character into the movie.
He seems like just a cool guy. Anyway,
yeah, I'll send you a link of that snippet of the interview.
But I know that I saw that his next show is Kanye West.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not sure how that's gonna go. Yeah, because Kanye's a little.
My wife saw Kanye in concert.
I don't know. Yeah, no.
She said that, man, it was the bomb. She saw it at the Stapleton, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. My wife got in this group of people. I mean, she went from school, but she went and saw Beyonce at Pat. I mean, she goes and she's not in the crowd. She was up in the box because my wife taught the daughter someone who's does some with the Rose Bowl, but my wife has been very blessed to see some big concerts. But she saw Kanye and said it was just phenomenal.
Oh, I can believe it. Yeah, and the fact that he's on the ballot right now, and it's like,
real. Well, I'm gonna. Yeah. Well, I've decided to put myself on the ballot because I realized that my IQ is probably a combination of both the people running. And hey. Listen, I'm telling you, I've got some good stuff for the country. Literally,
I'm sure you do. It's growing in your backyard.
It's definitely going. I'm telling you what, there's going to be no crime. It's not going to be a lot. There won't be a lot of exercise, but hey, fast food is going to go through the roof. Anyway, I just was bringing it up. Truth is, it's funny. Everything is very political, and.
Unfortunately,
not to me. I mean, personally, I'm living my life and having a good time.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting thing, and it can't be avoided. And it's really interesting though. The people I hang out with, nobody. I mean, the people I normally hang out with, nobody talks about politics.
No. And it's honestly,
it's the weird. I mean, no, I don't mean that in a weird thing, but in generality, how many conversations other than this podcast? We've known each other for a couple of years, talked a lot. We don't talk. I've never.
It used to be one of those things that you just don't talk about. It's just never really.
Well, you never talk about, what is it, politics and religion?
Yeah,
isn't that goes back to Dear Abby saying that in the 50s or 60s? But no, it's an interesting. It's there, and it's in what, 12 days?
Yeah.
So.
All right. Yeah. It's in 12 days.
I already voted 8 times. Well, I'm from Chicago. You vote early and often.
Yeah.
And this mail-in thing has turned. I mean, dude, I don't even have to leave the couch.
Exactly.
I love it.
First time I ever did it, because I used to get the mail-in ballots to my house. I was registered automatically as a mail-in ballot person, and I just I would always I always thought it was going to be too complicated. And I was like, I just want to go to the poll and just do it. Now,
okay, don't tell anybody that, because if you've opened it and you said that I didn't know where to sign my name.
I never even opened it.
I've never done it.
Yeah, I've never done it either.
I just go up the street.
Yeah,
it's right around the corner.
And so when I did it this year, I was like, I've been not doing this in this entire time. It's so easy. Yeah. So that was my experience.
Did you write my name down correctly?
yeah. But yeah, going back to
you know what? I figure with the scandals, it seems to be appropriate that, man, I'm going to look like an angel, which is crazy compared to these people. So I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have my core following.
yeah.
3 people.
3 people. Yeah.
And only one of them is related, which is scary. But anyway, I don't know. It is what it is.
Everything's political. And honestly, if people get off their phones and just like in the real world, like we were saying, the time that we've known each other, the time I've been at the worked with each other at the hotels, it's not even interacting with guests. It's not like what you see on the internet. The real world and the real people do not concern themselves with half of the stuff. No.
I mean, I live my life. I mean, you know how I live my life.
Yeah.
I mean, my associations are every class, race, creed. I don't, and it doesn't matter to me who you are. And all these people, that's what I love, is that if you meet someone who's an asshole, all you gotta do is like turn, and there's someone cool right here. And you know, I mean, I know we want to have hope in all these politics and whatever, but this is all run by money.
Yeah,
it all is. The debate should be by the number one financial sponsor of each candidate, because then we would know who's in charge or whatever.
Well, I think I was watching it, and I think the Anheuser-Busch was a sponsor of this last debate. So there you go.
Okay, so what is that telling you? When alcohol, isn't Anheuser-Busch one of the top beer companies in the world? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, if it would have been crack on the bottom, I definitely would have joined and would have.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying that just says whatever. But anyway, that being said, it doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
And I'm just having a good time. And I think I work. When is the election? The 3rd, right?
November 3rd,
2nd.
4th?
Is it?
November 3rd or 4th. Yeah.
How sad is that? The biggest news. I guess that pretty much says that politics isn't saying anything. We don't even know when the election.
Yeah.
My sister's birthday.
I'm glad. I can't wait.
Oh, no.
Those
what am I
days
saying? No.
What is it?
It's the 3rd.
It's the 3rd.
My grandfather, remember? We have a shot for Paul Conroy. We will have a shot on his birthday, which is election day. That's probably why he was an alcoholic. No, he wasn't. And I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that would definitely lead to Steve sent me Steve. You know Steve.
Yeah.
Beldes. He's always sending me stuff. And he was telling me how I will accept the election. And I sent them a picture of Jameson. I said, either way, I'm good. I won't worry about it. But yeah, I forgot it. It's my grandfather's birthday. He was, in fact, you know what? I'm going to check, but I believe he was also born the same year as Kirk Douglas. I think he was born in 1916 or 14, one of those two. I remember because he was too old for World War II.
Oh, okay.
So, to be drafted. So I'm going to look that up, but then he would have been 104 too today or in a couple of weeks, which is kind of interesting.
What age did he pass away?
You know, what's really weird was that he had got cancer.
Uh-huh.
He worked in the automotive industry. So he worked in the steel mill part of the Etzel Ford plant in Detroit. Okay. Now I'm sure there was massive, cautionary protections for bad stuff in those days. Yeah. I mean, you might as well just been breathing it through pipes, asbestos or whatever.
Yeah.
But he also smoked Pall Malls. Okay. Are you familiar with Pall Malls?
No.
They don't have filters.
Okay. Okay.
So he smoked a couple packs of Pall Malls a day, drank shots and beers.
Okay.
And I never saw him intoxicated except for one time on Christmas Eve. And he dragged me into the snow and took me up and down the street to show who was doing a shitty job on their Christmas lights. And he was, now that I'm thinking about him, it's interesting. So he was what kind of Christmas tree do you get? I know it's a crazy question.
You would say Douglas Ferns?
Okay, yes, you're right. Okay.
So. Well, last few years we have the kind of like
don't say that
expensive fake ones. Yeah.
Okay. What? The what?
The ones you put in a box and you take it out. It's huge. I'll show you. I'll show you. I'll send you a picture when it's done.
No, don't ever send me a picture. Anyway, so
They look real. They look real.
My grandfather was a Douglas fir man. So this is back in Detroit. And I mean, this dude, his lights on his tree was spectacular, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he would visit all the, in-laws, right? So he would come to our house, and first thing he'd walk in, my dad'd be like, is he gonna light the tree? I mean, it was so crazy, but his stuff was spectacular. But when we moved from Detroit to Grand Rapids, we had a huge yard, and we cut Christmas trees from our yard.
Oh, nice.
For Christmas. And when you put the fresh tree in your house, there's before you got the fake tree, you remember all the needles on the ground?
Yeah.
Well, there was none. And you walked in your house, it smelled like the forest. It was
nice.
And it was interesting because Christmas was different on the East Coast than for you.
Mm-hmm.
Our first Christmas here, I'm barbecuing Omaha steaks.
Okay.
It's 80 degrees. It just was like, and we grew up with, obviously we had big families, Irish. So we were, the fireplace, everybody was over. It was just people aren't hanging out in the middle of winter. So it was just, there were more inside. It was a very interesting.
Well, for us, Christmas is always kind of a big thing. But traditionally, it's like, you get family gets around and they bring food over. Tamales are like the huge thing during that year or that time of the year. Everybody and somebody either they're making them there, or somebody brings them over, or there's a good place a restaurant that we know that makes them. You just go and pick some up.
Hey, on a side note, this Christmas, tell me where to go get the best tamales.
Okay.
Or take me someplace to go get the best tamales.
Yeah.
Because I remember what year did you work at our hotel when Victor was the head valet guy? He wore the outfit, or was that before your time? He would have been before Ivan. He was before Ivan.
Yeah. Then okay. I was there. Yeah, because I was there before Ivan took the role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't in charge, but he was the head bell. He was the guy who wore the outfit. Perfect person up there. Personable, knew everybody's name, coolest guy. So for 2 or 3 years, I would trade him cookies for his wife's tamales.
Oh, nice.
And his wife made turkey mole tamales, and she would bring them in the pot from the stove to the hotel, and they would never even make it to my house. They were the best. There was something about the difference. They were spectacular.
That sounds pretty good.
Oh, they were, and I like mole personally.
Yeah, I do too.
Especially if it's a little hotter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like it a little bit, not totally brown, but get a little bit of red in there and bring it in. And anyway, the stuff was great. So anyway, for John Paul Conroy on the election, going back to Paul Johnson. We'll
take a shot and then just...
So you asked me what year he died. This is very interesting you said that.
Uh-huh.
He got cancer, lung cancer, but it had metastasized. He was tough. 2 or 3 weeks before he died, he was painting full time. So he went from working at Ford to starting a painting company.
Okay.
In his 60s, and was painting mansions like in Grosse Pointe.
Yeah.
And so we heard he was sick. He had the tumors. I went and saw him. We were living in Grand Rapids, and so I went back. I saw him, and then I went to my freshman year.
Okay.
In college, Bible college. And it was the craziest thing. I got this thought about him or whatever. And within 5 minutes, there was a phone call at the end of the hallway. It was my mom telling me he had died. Wow. It was the weirdest, like I had this weird feeling, and it was just bizarre. And, I haven't even thought about it since that time.
Yeah.
And so what also was interesting was that, so I went to the funeral, and I went to an Irish wake.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what that is?
Well, I've never been to one.
Okay, well, it's worth going once.
Okay.
The men sit around and drink all night and reminisce, and then you go to the funeral the next day.
Okay.
So I went from Bible college to an Irish wake, and I was able to hang pretty well.
Okay.
But anyway, so what my mom said was that the week after he died, that in our house, so we lived in Warren, Michigan, they were in Detroit, but when he came to our house, he would always be going down the stairs.
Yeah.
He would always go down to the basement and check. He was always like checking pipes, and he was just, I don't know. She kept seeing something out of the corner of her eye for about a week. She would be doing the dishes or looking out, and she would see something go by him downstairs.
Yeah.
She said it only lasted a week, but it was the week after he had passed away.
Yeah.
And,
that's it. Could, yeah, very much so.
No, I'm not saying anything, but it was interesting. I have not thought about that.
You never know, though.
Okay, so that was 1981.
Okay.
That's when I was a freshman in college.
Yeah.
Because I took off a year.
Yeah.
To better myself. Yes. So institutionalized.
Was your family ever the same after that? I don't know what, because sometimes when the I don't know what's the word for it, but when the
patriarch,
there you go, of the family, passes, usually, the younger the kids fight over money. People start getting.
Well, it was interesting.
I'm saying that because when my grandmother passed away, my grandfather took off, started another family. So she basically raised 7 kids on her own.
A true hero.
Yeah. And then she passed away from breast cancer, probably like 95.
How old was she?
53, 52, somewhere around there. But yeah, I remember when her death happened, I remember I was young, but I was young enough to have her around for, and remember her. But yeah, when her passing left a big hole in the family. It was
well, she was the glue.
Yeah, it was huge.
So yeah, that would obviously,
all my aunts and uncles barely even talk to each other now. So
it's interesting you say that because so I grew up in my grandma lived on 8 Mile, in fact. And Cadue in Detroit, it's famous, pretty famous, great freaking food around on every. I mean, I grew up in Michigan, in the Detroit area back in the '60s when it was just a killer city. Before the energy crisis and Toyota and small cars and gas savings took over everything. So because my family in fact, my parents were more professional people. So during summers, my sister and I, we lived at my grandparents' house, Monday through Friday, not all the time, but so we grew up and my aunt is only 6 months older than me.
Okay. Nice.
It's pretty, okay. Yeah. So
I have a couple of relatives that are
of course, and they're Catholic because that's what happens. You can only do math so long. You can't figure out the days. But so we grew up, and she was like our sister. And it's interesting because after he died, and he really liked my mom, but the truth is, you're correct. My sister has communication with Janine and some of my aunts, but I have not had communication for years, and my mom either. Yeah. So it is, and there was a lot of friction between, I guess, my mom and her sisters or whatever. Yeah. But when we grew up, it was phenomenal because Christmas Eve, everyone came to our house. Yeah. We had ham or whatever, scored a lot of presents, killer. Nice. The next day, there was only 3. It was Kathleen, Janine, me, and my sister. So we were scoring presents huge. Yeah. So Christmas Eve, Christmas Day was a massive score and just hanging out. And then we would go to all the other families. Now it was interesting. My dad's side of the family, we didn't spend as much time with. Same. Yeah. It was like in the morning we would go there for Christmas.
Certain people, yes. Certain aunts or uncles, yes. But majority of them, no.
No, it's just so it's interesting you said that. So that was 81 that he passed away. But he died of, like I said, lung cancer. And I mean,
Cancer.
you know, he smoked, he drank, and then working in the thing. But he was a pretty solid guy. And let me tell you what, you did your chores,
Yeah.
and you said yes, sir, no,
Yeah.
ma'am, and you didn't. And it, you know, what's so funny? In my neighborhood that I grew up, if you did bad stuff, they told on you.
Yeah.
Neighbors called your parents' house
Yeah.
and said, hey, you know, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And it was like, so you get busted doing anything. So, and then you had the Catholic school. So if you screw around there, you're getting a beat down.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we used to have to kneel in the kitchen for the poor souls in purgatory.
Really?
And you know what? Screw them, because if you couldn't get it right, how come I can't even bend down now because of my knees. I think my mom would have put thumbtacks out there if she could have, but no, it was just a different time.
Yeah, my grandmother smoked a lot too, but not, you know, when I was around, I don't remember her smoking a whole lot.
No, my parents didn't smoke.
Yeah, she would send my mom and all her brothers and sisters to like the liquor store to buy her cigarettes and all these other stuff.
Oh, I mean, we got sent. They sold cigarettes to 8-year-olds.
Yeah,
They knew my grandfather, and when I was staying at his house, I had to go around the corner.
Exactly the same thing.
You know what? He would take me to the bar. So the Irish bar is kind of like, they're like family. They're like restaurants. They're like, so they have the booths where the families sit around the side, and then the men stand at the bar.
Yeah.
So he would take me first to White Castles and get hamburgers, or 1 or 2 back then. And then he would take me to the penny candy store and load me up with Cokes and penny candy. And then he would sit me in a booth, and he'd go hang out with the men, and I would just be inhaling. I'd go home, and my parents were like, he's on cocaine. I'd be so fired up. But no, it's interesting. He had a hard life.
Yeah.
You know, came from Ireland, immigrant, you know, lived on the East Coast. His dad, you know, died in a mine.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, you know, his family was broke up. So, but you know, what's interesting is that I have a shot glass from his grandfather's bar in Ireland.
Nice.
And it's got that weird color.
Yeah.
Old glass. So, I mean, that shot glass has got to be 140 years old, maybe.
Yeah. Now, do you use that? Do you use that to take the shot or anything like that on the?
Well, no, yeah. It's if you come to my house, you have to have a shot. That was what his thing was. That was the tradition at his house, is that if we had the shot, then we're together forever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I have that there. I have it up on my shelf. But it's funny. I haven't thought about my grandfather in a long time. He you know, he was strict, but the truth is, I'm glad to have grown up. I mean, when we went to his house, we did chores like a maniac.
Yeah.
I mean, I cut more lawn, and he was a perfectionist. You thought the Christmas tree was bad? You mess up on, you know, trimming the bush or the roses, you might not sit for a week. And my grandma, if we were sick, would give us hot toddies, brandy, blackberry brandy, in fact.
Wow. Yeah.
And we ate good food.
It's good.
But not Irish food's not good.
How do you think the holidays are going to be this year?
Well, believe it or not, I might go up to a house and stay in the house with my sister and nephews.
Okay.
They might come out here. It's just a kind of a weird situation, but what do I think about it? I think that you know, this election's taken all the news, but man, there's people getting really sick. I mean, huge again, and it's not being talked about. And you know, it's not the sickness, because people want to blame Trump for this or that, or for people die millions every year. So, you know, it's a horrible thing. We didn't suspect it. We should probably be going after the people who invented this shit, and we all know who did it. But I just saw a TV show. It was the news, business news. I think it was Bloomberg, and they were talking about malls. Gap's closing 200 stores.
Yeah.
Everything is going online.
Yeah.
And so in fact, literally at lunch before we talked, I saw this. So, I mean, when you're talking about the holidays, and that's just where Target was, you have to have a reservation to shop at Christmas time. That was part of that story.
Yeah.
So,
That's what you think they're going to do this year? Because what are they going to do for Black Friday? Is it basically just going to be all online? I'm sure it is.
Well, I mean, unless you want to tear stuff up at Walmart.
Which I'm curious to see.
I don't even think half the people going to Walmart have Wi-Fi, so I don't know if that's going to work out for you. But no, I don't. It's just, it's like my wife is still very protective about it. I'm a little bit more. I mean, I work at a hotel. I deal with people from all over the country.
Yeah.
But I wear gloves. I wear a mask. Also, I'm pretty fit. So I think that
you'll be all right.
And the truth is, if I don't feel good for a couple of days, I start sucking down vitamin C. I get rest and kick it. But I think the holidays are going to be weird. I mean,
it's going to be weird. Yeah. It's going to be small gatherings. People are still going to get together. I don't think that's going to stop. The way things have gone on, it's just everybody's.
Well, think about all these little stores that had the nicks and knacks that you bought that aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
So if Broadway now has shut off to July 1st.
Yeah.
I mean, and literally the GM of our hotel told me that there's no recovery next year. They're counting 2022.
That's what, because it's the way this thing's been politicized. It's like people still need to feel safe, and if they don't feel like things are safe, it's until that happens, you're not going to get a lot of this recovery.
I don't know. Have you been on a plane yet?
No, I haven't really needed to though. I think if I was going to go on there, I don't think I'd be afraid to get on. Even though I don't like flying in general, I hate flying.
See that lady hit the air attendant the other day?
No.
Yeah, she wouldn't put on a mask.
See, that's
and the lady. I mean,
yeah. The problem is we didn't get the right information right away, and it's like if everybody was just like, you put on your mask, you social distance, but everything's open, you can conduct your lives, but you must abide by those rules. That's fine, but everybody is like doing things different, and then everybody wants to.
Oh, within the state. Oh, so Orange County's here. Oh, guess what? Now they're having to drop down because they
go up, and it's like you have the red states that are like, screw masks, screw social distancing, screw the Democrats, and then their cases go up, and then they have to close their schools and their businesses back.
Well, a friend of mine wanted to visit me. Yeah. Literally, he's the guy who runs trips to Everett Space Camp, and so he said, I'm bringing some people to train up to Lake Tahoe.
Yeah,
and he goes, do you want to get together? Well, it's 3 days before my wife is leaving 4 days before my wife's going to see my mom, who's 84. And I said, listen, you're from Wisconsin, dude. No offense, but you're like the breeding ground of this disease.
Yeah,
and if we're outdoors. There's no social distancing in a tent.
Yeah. And that's a problem. It's like I get people wanting to live their lives normal as possible, but then a lot of those states and a lot of those cities, and even in our state, they're just like, you can't. They just want to act like it doesn't exist. So it's like.
Well, I work at the hotel.
Yeah.
It's really interesting though, because I have the mask. Oh, let me tell you something that was interesting. I wore a plaid shirt at Venice Beach, and I wore the red bandana and a hat, and man, I was getting some crazy. Like,
what was it? What was your?
So I had plaid shirt. I had it all buttoned up because, I protect myself from the skin. I had the red bandana. I had a hat and sunglasses on. And I was walking, and man, and some of these people were definitely gang members and a lot of them were Hispanic. Were just giving me a really bizarre.
They can't tell exactly what you are because you're kind of covered up.
Oh, I know. And well, and I mean, my skin's a little darker anyway, but I mean,
Yeah.
I meant
But
to
even
ask
then,
this about
there's
you.
lighter skinned Hispanics, so it's like
No.
your face is covered, your eyes are covered, you got your hat on,
And
you're plaid up to like looking like
I had it buttoned and up.
yeah, looking
So
like Debo from Friday.
so my wife was like, people were like giving me some really
I can imagine. Yeah.
look. I don't know if they thought I was gang or whatever, but it was just
Yeah.
I'm in jeans, boots, and this thing walking, and it was just kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to Venice Sunday morning again.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to take pictures.
You're gonna spend
Photographs.
like a day or a weekend or like a couple
just
days?
going to spend all day there.
Okay.
Tomorrow I'm going to get up and hike about 12 miles and then come see you.
Okay.
And then, but Sunday, me and my wife are going to go down to Venice and hang out, take some pictures. I love walking around early in the morning there.
Cool.
Very incredible. Though it's going to be cold.
Yeah. So looking forward to tomorrow. If you're able to stay for the fights, I'm gonna have the fights. I'm gonna have some food.
Well, the truth is, if when I get my work schedule.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm curious to see how you feel about the fights too, because it's gonna be. Is
it women?
No, it's a top heavy kind of like it's a fight card where the main fights are up at the top.
Okay.
And then there will be women on the fight card. They're sprinkled in here and there. Yeah. You don't like the women fight? You know why? Is it because boxing doesn't really, give the women boxers a lot of love? Because in MMA it's different. MMA, I mean, they'll put an entire card based on like a woman fight.
All right. Well, let me tell you what I have to say about this.
Yeah.
I think women can do anything.
Yeah.
And most of my projects have been involved with women.
Yeah.
But when I think of women, I think of like one of the greatest creations that God ever did, because he created man, and then he said, "Oh, we screwed this up. We gotta fix it quick." So he made women, and I think of them as almost like majestic people.
I guess
you know what I mean? So it just feels, I feel uncomfortable with anyone hitting a woman or child, even if it's another woman and child. I don't know. So it doesn't translate, and I don't watch it. It just seems uncomfortable to me, but I'm not in any way saying that it's not incredible, or that these aren't phenomenal athletes. I just respect at a different level, and I know there's other people who think like me when it comes to the sport.
No, there are even people within the sport, and they've been asked that question. Don't feel comfortable when they see other women, when they see women fighting each other. Well, coming from my perspective, I don't know what I can attribute that to. I don't know if it's just is it like
well, it's how you're brought up one way.
Yeah,
is it have something to do with it?
Is it because you're not the only person to hear I've heard say that before in the sport or whatever that been around.
Maybe I'm just jealous that they can beat me up.
Maybe I don't know, and it's nothing against you, and it's nothing against anybody else that I've heard this from. I don't know if it's a male kind of machismo thing to see women not in a feminine light. That I've always tried to figure why I've heard that from some people, and the same reason why when I talk about the sport or fighting in general, combat sports, and then people like, oh, it's too violent for me. And it comes from other guys too, or, oh, no, it's too violent for me.
Well, it's not violent enough for me.
That's what I'm saying. For me, it's.
I'm seeing guys wrestling. I want to see some punching and kicking,
But but like, am I like, I don't know. Maybe I felt like it was like, I don't get how people can be turned off either by women fighting or just fighting in general, and watch another guy, two guys or two women, either in a cage or in a boxing ring. And I think more so they attribute the violence more to the UFC MMA stuff because it has like this other elements to it. Somebody on the ground and they're punching them while they're on the ground or something like that, and it's too violent. I can't watch it. For me, it's like I can't get enough of it. So I'm desensitized at this point now. I've never really had that type of reaction, and I've seen that type of reaction from other people.
Well, okay, so machismo. When you said the
In terms of
I like a toxic masculinity type of
in a
scenario.
way, I think some of that comes into play, and then that's nothing against you, and it's nothing against anybody else that I've heard it from. But
Well, like I said, it comes
could that
down
be a
to
part
me
of it?
that I personally don't want to see any woman get hit, whether it's by.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
I'm not comfortable with
yeah,
the lady punching the flight attendant. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So it just seems like, can they do it? Yeah. Are they phenomenal? Yeah.
yeah,
Do I respect them? 100%.
yeah,
100%. I mean, they're athletes. They're phenomenal, and they're the best in the game. They get all my credit, but I'm just saying, for me, I'm not comfortable with it, and I'm not saying that it's wrong or anything. I'm just saying I look at women in a different light.
yeah,
I think they can do anything. I mean, I wish we could. I don't care if there was a woman president.
yeah,
Doesn't matter. I mean, it's something about the fighting. And the truth is, some of the fighting in the MMA, I will say, comparatively to boxing, when you get down and people are pounding people 8 or 9 times straight in the face before they step in,
yeah.
it is a little bit of I understand that different scene. I mean, I've seen some brutal stuff in the MMA,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I think the refs sometimes
They
wait
can,
too long
they
for the
can
tap out.
yes, 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 and they get criticized for it, and I don't think they get. I think commissions protect. Well, we're getting into MMA talk, but I think commissions sometimes protect their judges and their refs a little bit too much, where they don't hold them accountable for situations like that, because they do come up in boxing and in MMA and combat sports, because it's a dangerous game that they play.
I mean, I just saw one the other day where the guy he got hit 8 times. He's
Yeah.
on the ground. The guy was kind of kneeling, like
Yeah.
had him pinned and was nailing him. And I thought, wow, the guy's not moving.
Yeah, it
And
depends. I think some of them are too late, some of them are too early. Most of the time,
yeah, but it's a hard
it's a hard thing to judge, because all
sport
human.
to ref, because
Yeah.
even in fighting in real life, I mean, it can go any way so quickly. It's some of these knockouts that I see in MMA.
Yeah.
I think that the guy who's doing the knockout is more surprised than the guy getting knocked out. Like, he can't believe it. It's happening. You ever notice that?
Oh yeah, because from what I always hear, it's almost the it's not the shot that you feel or expect to land that really is the one that does it. A lot of times they sometimes fighters, when they've landed that knockout punch, they didn't feel like, or they didn't expect it to be that punch, and that takes that person out. And it's kind of like one of those, they're surprised by it, I think, a lot of times. And then the relief of, oh, it's over. I won.
I'm not going to die today.
Yeah, I'm not going to die today.
The only time I've ever felt as much stress is going in the ring.
Yeah.
I only fought a few times.
Yeah, because you've had some experience. Yeah.
Was the game show. When I did the game show thing, and are they going to call me? Holy shit! I don't want to be called. I don't want to win. It is the most stressful thing. I was on this show.
What game show did you do?
Greenfield was the sports guy.
Okay.
Greenville, he does he did the show, and now he does the podcast.
Okay.
Oh, I forget. It was on ABC. Yeah, I mean, I was a fool. I missed a question where I had been. I mean, it's the most stressful thing, and you're not sleeping.
If it comes back to you, let me know, and then
I will. I'll find it out. I'll say. So,
I did a segment on Jimmy Kimmel one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean you did a segment?
So they did a those on the street type of things.
Yeah.
So they had one. It was late night. It was like kind of the sun was coming down. It was off of Hollywood Boulevard, and they filmed right next to the El Capitan.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
So they had a thing outside to where they were doing this street karaoke, and it was a segment that they were doing for quite a while. This was like 2008, maybe around that time. It was like street karaoke that Jimmy Kimmel was doing. And then I was in the crowd, or no, I was passing by. And then somebody from the production came up and asked me if I wanted to be a part of it and wanted to be on. And I was like, whatever. I was there with a girlfriend at the time, and yeah, I had to sing Hotel California.
Really?
On live television, yeah. Yeah. So this is probably it probably didn't go well. I didn't, and you can hear Jimmy's talking to you, and you can hear he's in the studio. You're outside. They give you an earpiece. He's talking to you. You're looking into a camera with a bright light. You're on the street. People around you. It's very nerve wracking. It's not a fun position to be in. But I don't know why I did it. But
Well,
I didn't get anything for it. But I remember how
I
did it right. But it's already nerve wracking to do karaoke in general. But
I missed winning millions of dollars. Truth is, I think the winner won 1.4 million, and it was kind of like a man. I have to look up what the name of it is. But the funny thing was that it was on Craigslist, right? So it was called Duel. There's the name of the show, Duel Game Show. I was Paul Kales, the carpenter. So what happened was, this is so outrageous. So when I moved out here, you could get work on Craigslist.
Uh-huh.
I mean, no, I got like set gigs, like building sets. It was really they were really using it. So I saw a thing called carpenter, and I said, oh, okay. So I went down, and it was this long line of people. I'm like, what the heck? And these guys all look like no carpenters. They look a little West Hollywood soft kind of, you know what I mean? In fact, the interview was in the building 2 doors down from that Beanery place, the famous coffee shop in West Hollywood, the Beanery. It's very famous. People sit outside. Anyways, right. Yeah. So I showed up, and we had to fill out so for the job interview, I get this trivia. I'm like, what? Like, I'm thinking I'm getting a job, like to build the set, and I got a trivia, test. And I know stupid stuff, so I filled it out and I handed it in. They goes, oh, please come in. And then they told me it's for the game show. And I said, why do you want me? And the lady looked out the door and pointed down the line and goes, because you don't look like them. You look like a real person. So anyway, we did the show. I haven't thought about this in years. And it was shot at ABC or Disney. Is Disney part of ABC?
Yeah, Disney owns ABC. Yeah.
So it's that studio over there off of in Burbank.
Uh-huh.
And we were sequestered at this hotel, and I don't even know where it was. We didn't even know where it was.
Oh, nice.
So we went. People stood outside your door at the hotel.
Oh, okay.
During the filming, they went to the bathroom with you because they didn't want anyone co-spearing the whole thing. Remember the famous movie with Ray Fiennes? Quiz show?
Yeah, the quiz show. Uh-huh.
So they had lawyers always around, and something in practices is what their legal practice. Something in practices where they're always checking brands, what's on your shirt. So we were eating like the most, we were in the executive dining room at Disney, just getting fed, food, and you're not sleeping. And then you're filming. You go, God, I hope I don't got to take a dump. And it's just like, so anyway, I got called up. I mean, every time they spin the thing and the lights, I mean, that's not for me, man. And I was like, I was just like freaking out. So I got called up, and I missed on a question about Minnesota. And it was what is the highest point in the U.S.? And most people either think, well, Washington or what is it, Maine at the top. Yeah. It's not. It's the boundary waters of Minnesota, which I had stinking canoed. So, man, when I messed that up, so, it was filmed and you couldn't say anything. I couldn't tell my wife about it. You had to sign all the papers. And when that show aired, I had to turn my phone off. I mean, idiot was one of the nicest words used, but anyway, it was a weird time. And truth is, it was really interesting moving out here in 2007. Mm-hmm. You worked all the time. Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a job for a couple of years. I just did side work. I did background work. Yeah. Every day. Back then, I got on a roll where but it was crummy pay. I think it was $10 an hour, $8 an hour. It was horrible back then. But you got the work. It's very different now, right? It's a lot. Well, no, I think now
is it
Corey was thinking about doing it.
Yeah,
And
I
they
remember we were
checked it
talking
out.
about it, and I was telling
But
him like, you
it's
should really
hard.
check it
They're
out.
not taking anybody.
No,
I'm sure now,
especially now, right now. No.
But yeah. So my wife did it. But you know what? You know who else did it? Central Casting would be. You've heard of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Brad Pitt went through there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So at one
That's like
time,
really the only places the big places to go that you could just, if you look up Central Casting.
So we did that, and then I got doing gripping and different things, not union stuff, all non-union, but there was a lot of work back then, and especially carpentry work. I got a lot of good jobs off that, but now I don't even know if there is Craigslist anymore. But
it's Craigslist. Yeah, it still exists. It's still there.
I think I bought some good stuff on there. I'm sure they sold a lot of weights on Craigslist earlier this year.
The only thing with Craigslist is like it's just all shady because you're on there, you're looking up stuff, and even now it's like that's why I think OfferUp and all these other apps are a lot better because they give you the images, they give you descriptions. It's very user friendly, and the user
this is back. This is
Craigslist still operates like you can.
Well, they got a big prostitution sting.
Because
3 years ago.
People are using
back page thing or whatever, but
drugs and prostitution.
Anyway,
good way to end the show right there, Don.
Yes. We're gonna go do drugs and prostitution. But no. So anyway, that was really
that's interesting. Huh?
That was
send me a link of that your episode.
I'll send you the picture.
I'll try to find.
I had a headshot.
I don't think I'm gonna find it.
And Bob, the host you'll know from ESPN. He was the host, and it was just kind of a weird thing, but got paid really well, believe it or not, even to not be on it. And if I would have just going back now, I could have done really well.
Yeah.
But when you're on there and there's audience, and it's just the most nerve-wracking. I mean, I can sit on my couch and do that millionaire show, and nail them continually because it's multiple choice. Yeah, that also makes it easier because you're able to eliminate 2 right off the bat normally.
Yeah, but when you're there, it's
and you're not.
Lights on you. Oh,
I forgot about that. And I made some really good money on that too. Believe it or not, it was crazy. Yeah. And it was what it was. That was a different time back then. Yeah, but that was before security work. Or whatever I do.
Yeah.
But anyway, so other than that, anything else you saw that you want to talk about?
As far as on the list of recommendations this week,
I know we have a weird show. We don't have a thing, but you know what? We should probably go back horror.
We could do
next time.
Halloween's going to be close to that.
You know what we should do on tomorrow?
Yeah,
let's get a list of people's horror movies.
All right.
We'll have people there. Let's ask them what they have to say about it because I'll be interested to see. But we should probably deal with that again.
We'll discuss their top 10. I think I've watched Curb Your Enthusiasm. I finished How to Make It in America, the second season. What else have I been watching? Oh, we got Man of Steel. That's about it, really. Vertigo. I watched Vertigo with Hitchcock.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that who's the main character in that one?
You have. Is
that Cooper?
No, it's
That's not Cooper. What's his name? I can see him running in the car right now.
It's James Stewart.
So is that the one where he's in the wheelchair?
No, this is He's in the wheelchair in the beginning.
Isn't he in a house looking out the windows?
This is where in the beginning he's chasing this bank robber with a cop. He's a detective. He retires because he's hanging off the ledge. He looks down at the floor and he gets vertigo, and then he can't really do his job correctly after that. Then there's he takes a case of one of his wealthy friends to go and kind of follow his wife to make sure she's good because he fears.
Rear Window is the one I was thinking about.
Oh, Rear Window. Okay,
that's the Hitchcock where he's in the apartment with the camera.
Okay,
that guy's a pretty iconic actor, by the way. When you say
who, James Stewart?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know, but I was watching that movie. It looks great, and it was like the color and the restoration of the film. It looked really good, and then. Stars Kim Novak.
Yeah.
Who honestly, like I thought she was just gorgeous in the movie. And
Oh yeah.
if you for like sometimes when you go back that far in Hollywood, and
She's still alive, by the way.
yeah,
She's from Chicago.
it's just if you look at her in that time period, sometimes they look glamorous, they look attractive, but she had a look in that film that she's attractive, that her look, I think if you put her in a movie today, she would be considered like an alluring actress, because she just has that look that it transcends.
Well, he Hitchcock liked the icy blondes.
Yeah,
that was his signature.
And she was more of a fully figured kind of woman too, if you look at it, because she wasn't like super thin or anything like that. She was a looker, man. I liked her.
Well, I mean, Hitchcock's films are.
Did you ever see that movie, the Hitchcock movie, where they kind of like it's not.
Wait. The one with was it Anthony Hopkins? Play him?
It's called
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, there's one with
and the wife. The wife is one of my favorite British actresses. I can't think. Been around forever.
That one's good, but the other one I liked is with Sienna Miller, and
no, I haven't seen that one.
And Toby Jones. This one came out in 2012. This is I think she plays Tippi Hedren, and this is like the whole back.
Oh, okay.
This is the backstory of Birds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was a good movie. It was Sienna Miller and the character actor Toby Jones, and it's got a really good cast. But that's a good movie. I really enjoyed that one.
The one I'm thinking of is from 2012, and it has Anthony Hopkins and Helen Mirren is the one I'm. And Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, that one's good too.
I love that Helen Mirren. Truth is, man, I think she's just a bomb.
She's great. All right, so man. So next week, I gotta go though.
Hey, all right. So listen. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, man.
And I don't know how long I'll be there, but I'll definitely bring some stuff. And just send me your address. Yeah. And next week, horror.
Okay, sounds good, man. I'll give you all the information. I'll shoot you over, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cookies.
All right.
Alcohol. Excellent. There you go.
Okay. All right. Have a good night, man.
Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening.
Yes, thank you.